Security tried to take her away. The alien baby monsters broke containment and ran straight into her arms. The alarm started as a low hum beneath. The floor, the kind of vibration you feel in your bones before you actually hear it. By the time the red lights began flashing across the containment lab, everyone already knew something had gone wrong. Anya stood in the center of the room, her hands slightly raised, her breathing controlled but tense. Behind her, the reinforced glass enclosure shimmered with a faint blue glow. Inside it, 4 small alien creatures pressed their tiny palms against the transparent wall, their luminous cyan eyes fixed entirely on her. They weren't supposed to behave like that. "Step away from the enclosure immediately," the intercom commanded in a cold, mechanical tone. Anya didn't move. The creatures were no taller than 3 feet. Their smooth, pale skin reflected the laboratory lights like pearl. Their heads were slightly oversized, their glowing eyes wide and expressive. Thin tails flicked anxiously behind them. They had arrived 2 weeks earlier inside, a shattered escape pod that crashed into the Pacific Ocean. No adults were found, no weapons, just these 4 infants. The military labeled them specimens. Anya called them children. The first time she had entered the lab, they were curled into each other, trembling and emitting high-pitched frequencies that made the containment glass vibrate. Security teams had prepared for aggression. Scientists expected hostility. Instead, Anya had quietly sat on the floor outside the enclosure. She spoke softly. She didn't demand. She didn't analyze. She simply stayed. Slowly, the creatures stopped screaming. One lifted its glowing eyes toward her. Another crawled closer to the glass. Within minutes, all 4 were pressed against the barrier, mirroring her calm posture. Now, heavy boots echoed through the chamber as 2 armored security officers entered. Their powered suits hummed with mechanical strength. Weapons locked into standby position. "She's too close," one officer said. "Orders are to remove her." A metal hand clamped around her arm. "It's okay," she whispered, not to them, to the babies. The moment they began pulling her away, the enclosure flickered. A crack split through the air. But the glass did not shatter outward. Instead, it dissolved, like ice melting in reverse. The barrier unraveled at a molecular level. The creatures didn't hesitate. They ran. Tiny claws scraped across the metal floor as they rushed toward her. One leapt first, wrapping its arms around her waist. Another clung to her leg. The third scrambled up her back. The smallest reached for her trembling hand. The entire lab froze. A soft harmonic tone filled the room. Low, steady, almost musical. The officer tightened his grip. That's when every electronic system failed. Lights died. Weapons powered off. The armored suits locked rigidly in place. Surveillance screens went black. Only the soft blue glow from the alien babies remained, pulsing gently in the darkness. They weren't attacking. They were protecting her, and they refused to let her go. Emergency generators flickered on, bathing the lab in dim orange light. The armored officers stood frozen inside their powerless suits. Scientists stared in disbelief at the 4 alien infants clinging to Anya like frightened toddlers. "They just disabled a military containment system," one technician whispered. "And didn't harm anyone," another added. Anya slowly knelt, careful not to startle them. The baby's glow softened as they pressed closer to her. She could feel warmth spreading through her skin. Wherever they touched her, not heat, but something deeper, like energy syncing with her heartbeat. The smallest one pressed its forehead against her palm, and suddenly images flooded her mind. A burning sky, a planet breaking apart, massive shadows falling from orbit, a ship launching in desperation. Cold silence. Loss. She gasped softly. "They're alone." The commanding officer stepped forward cautiously. "Explain." "They're not weapons. They're survivors." The harmonic sound continued, low and steady. It wasn't random noise. It felt intentional, protective. "They think you're hurting me," Anya said quietly. Security units slowly powered back on, but none dared move. For days afterward, the military attempted to separate her from the creatures for controlled testing. Each time, systems malfunctioned. Communications scrambled. Equipment shut down without damage. They weren't attacking. They were refusing. Eventually, the command structure changed strategy. A compromise was reached. Anya would remain their primary contact. No forced removal. Once the threat of separation stopped, the lab transformed. The babies became curious. They mimicked her movements. When she sat cross-legged, they copied her. When she raised her hand slowly, they did the same. They responded to tone rather than words, emotion rather than language. Xenobiologists theorize their species communicated through emotional resonance. They could sense intention. Fear caused their glow to intensify defensively. Calmness soothed them. They imprinted on her, a senior researcher concluded. Like ducklings? Someone muttered. Like children, Anya corrected gently. One evening, during a scheduled medical scan, security insisted on escorting her out of the room temporarily. The moment the door sealed behind her, the harmonic frequency surged violently. Lights flickered. Equipment overloaded. She was rushed back inside. The instant she stepped in, the energy stabilized. 4 glowing figures rushed into her arms. From that moment on, no one questioned it again. They weren't specimens. They were bonded. And the bond was stronger than steel containment walls. The world outside debated whether they were monsters. Inside the lab, they curled beside her like frightened orphans, who had found the only safe place left in the universe. And no one, not even armed security, could pull them away from her without consequence. Weeks passed, and the global narrative shifted from fear to fascination. Footage of the alien infants following Anya through the facility leaked online. Some called them adorable. Others called them dangerous. Inside the lab, they were simply growing. Their bioluminescent skin patterns began changing subtly, forming complex geometric shapes when they were excited. They learned simple human gestures, pointing, nodding, even something that resembled a wave. But what fascinated scientists most was their technology. It wasn't mechanical. It was biological. Microscopic scans revealed cellular structures, capable of manipulating electromagnetic fields. Their containment breach hadn't been brute force. It had been controlled molecular disruption. Yet they never used it aggressively, only defensively. Late one night, as Anya sat quietly with them in the observation chamber, the air shifted. She felt it before the alarms. The smallest one stiffened. Its glow brightened sharply. The others followed, standing upright and facing upward. Then the facility's external radar screamed to life. An anomaly had appeared in orbit. A massive object phased into visibility, above Earth's atmosphere. Its energy signature identical to the crashed pod. Panic erupted through military networks worldwide. Defense satellites locked on. Nuclear protocols were discussed within minutes. Inside the chamber, the babies were not afraid. They were hopeful. The harmonic tone returned, stronger now, layered, almost joyful. The commanding officer rushed in. "We have a ship in orbit. This could be a retrieval or invasion." Anya looked at the 4 small beings glowing like stars around her. "It's their family." Outside, the enormous vessel powered down visible weapon systems. Instead of charging weapons, it emitted a soft pulse of light. The babies moved toward the observation window, pressing their tiny hands against the glass, just as they had done the first day they saw her. A beam of light descended from the sky. Not violent, not forceful, inviting. The smallest one turned to her, stepping closer. She felt another emotional surge. Not lost this time. Hope. "They came back for them," she whispered. Global leaders demanded defensive action, but inside the lab, something extraordinary was unfolding. The babies hesitated. They didn't run to the beam. They ran to her first. All 4 wrapped around her one final time, their glow enveloping her in soft blue light. Security had once tried to remove her. Now the universe itself seemed to pause, waiting for what she would do next. The beam shimmered steadily outside the facility, reaching down from orbit like a bridge between worlds. Inside the chamber, the 4 alien infants clung to Anya as if the entire universe depended on her answer. Her throat tightened. "They need to go," she whispered softly. The smallest pressed its glowing forehead against her palm again. This time there were no burning skies, no destruction, only warmth, belonging. Then a new sensation, reassurance. They weren't leaving her behind in fear. They were leaving knowing they had been protected. One by one, they loosened their grip. The first stepped back, tiny fingers trailing along her arm. The second gave a soft, harmonic note, almost like a goodbye. The third brushed its small hand against her cheek. The smallest hesitated longest, glowing brighter than the others. "It's okay," she said, her voice trembling. "Go home." They turned toward the beam. Security forces across the world waited for aggression. None came. The four small figures walked forward calmly, stepping into the column of light. Their bodies rose slowly, silhouettes glowing against the night sky. The beam retracted. The massive ship lingered for several long seconds. Then every communication system on Earth received the same. Transmission, translated hours later by advanced AI and linguists working together. One word: gratitude. The ship vanished into the stars. Silence filled the lab. For the first time in weeks, Anya stood alone. Security officers lowered their weapons. Scientists exhaled. The commanding officer looked at her with something that almost resembled respect. "They chose you," he said quietly. "No," she replied, staring at the empty sky. "They trusted me." In the days that followed, global tension eased. The event reshaped humanity's understanding of extraterrestrial life. Not invaders, not monsters, children. Security had tried to remove her that first day. The alien babies had run into her arms instead. And because of that bond, because compassion overpowered fear, a potential war between worlds ended before it ever began. Some nights, when the sky is especially clear, Anya swears she sees a faint blue pulse among the stars. Not a threat, not a warning, just a reminder, somewhere out there. 4. Once terrified alien children remember. The human who refused to let go, even when security tried to pull her away.